The original Nintendo Switch was a turning point for Nintendo after the commercial misfire that was the Wii U. It offered an entirely new kind of hybrid gameplay experience, one that redefined how people could interact with consoles. And now, after years of speculation and leaks, the follow-up is official. Nintendo Switch 2 is real and on its way. But how much has actually changed under the hood? Welcome to Technology Review, where today we're digging deep into the Nintendo Switch 2 to see just how much of an upgrade it really is over the first-generation Switch. From the CPU to the display and everything in between, this is the definitive comparison that gamers and tech lovers have been waiting for. Let's kick things off with the heart of any console, the processor. Performance power. CPU improvements. The original Switch ran on a custom NVIDIA Tegra X1 SoC. Specifically, it used a combination of 4 ARM Cortex-A57 cores and 4 Cortex-A53 cores. Though only the A57S were active, the performance was decent for a hybrid handheld device, but compared to other 8th-gen consoles like the PS4 or Xbox One, it definitely lagged behind. Nintendo squeezed every bit of efficiency from those cores. Games like The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild pushed the system impressively, considering its modest specs. However, it was clear that the architecture was becoming outdated fast. Enter the Switch 2. This time, Nintendo isn't messing around. They're once again teaming up with NVIDIA, but with a significantly more powerful custom chip believed to be based on the NVIDIA Tegra T239. This means we're now getting 8 ARM Cortex-A78 cores, double the number of usable CPU cores compared to the original Switch, and based on a newer, more efficient architecture. While Nintendo hasn't revealed the chip's clock speeds officially, insiders suggest that the frequencies will be toned down a bit from the reference T239 chip to maintain battery efficiency for handheld use. Still, the extra cores and architectural improvements mean better multithreading, more dynamic AI behavior, and richer, more complex game environments. Graphics and GPU evolution. One of the biggest limitations of the first Switch was its graphical capability. The original chip featured a 256-core Maxwell-based GPU with frequencies ranging from 300 MHz to 768 MHz, depending on whether it was docked or in handheld mode. While this setup worked well enough, it was starting to show its age, especially with third-party titles needing significant downgrades to run smoothly. Switch 2 doesn't just step up, it leaps forward. Memory matters, RAM and storage bump. Another area where the original Switch struggled was RAM. With only 4 GB of shared LPDDR for memory, developers often had to make compromises, cutting textures, lowering draw distances, and optimizing every single resource. It was enough to power Nintendo's first-party gems, but limiting for AAA ports. The Switch 2 triples that, offering 12 GB of LPDDR5 RAM. That's not just more memory, it's faster memory. LPDDR5 offers increased bandwidth, which makes a huge difference when juggling high-resolution textures, real-time lighting effects, and bigger open worlds. Storage, too, sees a major upgrade. The original Switch only offered 32 GB of internal storage. This meant most users had to buy microSD cards to store more than a handful of games. In contrast, the Switch 2 now provides 256 GB of UFS 3.1 storage. This not only gives you more room to install your favorite titles, but UFS 3.1 is vastly faster than eMMC used in the original. While it's not quite SSD fast like the PS5 or Xbox Series X, it should drastically cut down on loading times. Battery and charging, an area of concern. The battery life of the original Nintendo Switch was highly variable. With a 4,310 mAh battery, it could last anywhere from 2 to 6 hours depending on what you were playing. Games like Zelda, Breath of the Wild would drain it quickly, while indie games like Celeste barely made a dent. What's disappointing is the lack of fast charging support. It still takes around 3 hours to fully charge the console, and in an era where phones can go from 0 to 50% in 20 minutes, this feels like a missed opportunity. Display and docked output visual upgrades galore. The original Switch came with a 6.2-inch LCD panel at 1280 by 720 and a 60 Hz refresh rate. It was serviceable in 2017, but now feels outdated, especially with smartphones boasting better displays. The OLED model improved things with more vibrant colors and deeper blacks, but it retained the same resolution and refresh rate. Switch 2 takes a solid step forward here. We're looking at a larger 7.9-inch LCD panel with a full HD 1920 by 1080 resolution and a buttery-smooth 120 Hz refresh rate. In docked mode, the difference is even more pronounced. Switch 2 now supports output at 4K 60 Hz. Combined with DLSS, even games that aren't rendered natively at 4K will look sharp and detailed on a large TV. This makes the console much more future-proof and puts it more in line with modern display standards. What does all this mean for games? Higher core counts, DLSS, faster memory, and a sharper display all sound great on paper. But what does that mean for actual gameplay? In short, it's a game changer. Developers can now design richer open worlds, better AI interactions, and smoother performance. Nintendo has already confirmed that upcoming titles like Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza will make use of the improved hardware to deliver experiences not possible on the first Switch. Even more interesting is the ability to port graphically demanding games. Cyberpunk 2077 and Hogwarts Legacy are already being adapted for the Switch 2, a testament to how far Nintendo has come in terms of power and capability. With the right optimizations and DLSS magic, these games could actually run smoothly and look great on a portable console. Pricing and final thoughts. With all these upgrades, there's obviously a bump in price. The original Switch launched at $299. The Switch 2 is expected to hit shelves at $449. That puts it closer in line with the PS5 Digital Edition or the Xbox Series S. But considering its hybrid nature and unique feature set, it still occupies its own space in the market. Nintendo isn't chasing raw power here. It's not trying to go head-to-head with Sony or Microsoft in the traditional console war. Instead, it's leveraging smart technology like DLSS and efficient chip design to punch well above its weight class. The Switch 2 feels like a natural evolution. It retains the hybrid concept, strengthens all the weak points, and offers a modern foundation for Nintendo's legendary first-party franchises to flourish. And if the install base grows as expected, it won't be long before third-party developers flood the eShop with fresh ports and new titles. So, is the Switch 2 worth the upgrade? For anyone still gaming on the original model or even the OLED, it's looking like a yes. It's not just a spec bump. It's a smarter, more powerful system built for the next chapter of Nintendo's handheld journey. If you're a fan of Nintendo or just love innovative tech, this one deserves a spot on your radar. Thanks for joining us here at Technology Review. Don't forget to subscribe for more in-depth looks at the hottest tech and gaming hardware. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Will you be picking up the Switch 2?